Welcome, welcome everybody. I feel so blessed to have such smart, informed, compassionate viewers. Thank you, thank you. It's a privilege to be part of this community. Really it is. So I'm doing this reading for the second time because I recorded it the first time and the sound was down, so it'll be interesting what the cards say second time round. Just a trigger warning in case there's new viewers cruising through. On this channel, it's considered not okay to steal money from children's charities. Doing it for decades. Shocking. Laundering Russian oligarch money by selling them real estate and cozying up to a regime that thinks it's all right to torture and dismember journalists. It's not all right. So if you think it is all right, off you go to Fox, where you'll hear the pearls out of the mouth of Sean Hannity. But here, just this week, viewers, Trump has signed a bill that didn't exist. He then insisted all these federal workers were contacting him saying, don't end the shutdown. In other words, people ringing up and saying, Mr. President, please don't pay me. Does he think we're stupid? Does he think the whole country is stupid? Then he went to Iraq for 3 hours and had a campaign rally. And then he came back with the missus, who it looked like she'd forgotten to put her pants on, and then complained how hard it was for him, that trip. He's just beyond disgusting, because I'm with Nancy Pelosi on the beaded curtain. I think that's the way to really get up his nose. It's comedy, Oh, hold on. I think it's a Russian bot right on cue. I've got to get rid of this on screen. Oh, no, there it goes. Good. I'm back. Yeah, so this complete nonsense. And then he said Saudi was going to pay to rebuild Syria. And the Saudis, who are supposed to be best friends, they got back and said straight away, we didn't say this, please forget you heard this. There's no way we would do this. I mean, he's so brazen in his lies. Brazen. All right, so let's have a look at the stock market. Now, we've got to remember the stock market is not the same thing as the economy. We tend to fuse it in the brain. I've got a PhD in sociology. Yes, Dr. Lena.Rodriguez. I know. But I haven't got one in economics. So we're just going to look from a tarot perspective at the first 6 months of the stock market for 2019. My last reading on the stock market, those of you who'll remember or have looked it up again, it said at the end of 2018 there'd be drops, there'd be recoveries, it'd keep on wobbling, but watch out for next year. So the first part of that has come to pass. Let's have a look. So I'll do it in sections. I'll do January, February, March first. Okay, the stock market. January, February, March. Let's see. January, February looks a bit challenging, but we'll end up all right. Okay. Mixed, but not too bad. So this is January, first of all. The market itself has self-corrected, if you like, pulled itself back from the brink. So suspended to some extent. We're going to see a bit of movement, but not necessarily a massive fall in January. Maybe a more steady decline, but hanging around in early Jan. Then there's a diminished celebration. It could actually recover a little bit more, but remembering with this the wands in this Four of Wands card are much bigger than the people celebrating. And if you look very closely, the regular people, the ordinary people, have their backs turned. They've been forgotten, and certain people are celebrating. So it's like being told things are okay when they're not really okay for ordinary people. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. In this case, because it's a reading on something like the stock market, I don't think it's an individual person, so it's not a literal woman. It's, I think I'd describe it as the talking up of the market to itself. So as we know, the stock market is a big con game in itself, and it's all about confidence, and I would read the Queen of Pentacles in that role. So January, the market's going to regroup, talking behind the scenes, etc., but reassuring people it's going to be all right. February kicks off with a different story, viewers. February, it gets the Death card. I would not be surprised to see big drops in early February. It also, in relation to Trump, it's hard to see probably on this crappy camera I've got, but the Death figure is literally trampling the king. His crown has fallen off. So this will not be a good time for Trump. The King of Wands could be Jeremy Powell or someone hugely influential in the stock market. This could be the Federal Reserve, or it could be someone big like Michael Bloomberg or Elon Musk, or someone who's a heavyweight somewhere in there, taking their slice of the pie. In other words, they're underneath this celebration. So for them, it's like, well, I'm all right. What's the problem? It's sitting pretty, right? Sitting pretty. Deals will be struck, the Lovers card. So by the end of February, it stabilizes again or comes back a bit again after a very rocky start in February as the stupid tariffs kick in. So now March, Page of Cups. It's a very deceptive card in the sense it's ruled by Neptune, which is a bit of illusion going on here. The figure is holding the cups, holding the emotions. This is the intuitive aspect of the market. In other words, some people will intuitively sell and some will intuitively buy. So what notoriously happens when markets decline is those with a lot of money go shopping and they buy the bargains that appear on the scrap heap for a good price. So I think by the beginning of March, you're going to see some illusion around the stock market. I don't know quite what form that will take, but it's like the wool being pulled over people's eyes. And the reason I think that is because the next card, the Six of Pentacles, is big money for the rich and pennies for the poor. It's traditionally the card of compromise. It's underneath the King of Wands. So that might indicate when you've got the deal is being struck between the big powerful players like the Fed and other shakers and movers on the stock market doing a deal, and basically to keep the plebs in line, just give them a few pennies, they'll be all right. So they'll be keeping the big money to themselves. So in fact, they could be pulling more money out of the stock market on some level. Then at the end of March, we have the Ace of Wands. So it's a blunt instrument at work here. Well, you could describe Trump as a blunt instrument at work here, couldn't you? So by March, his economic program, circa 1935, will be bearing fruit. You get the green leaves, and it's going to be recognised for the disaster that it represents. So in other words, just recapping those first 3 months, it'll just wobble around for a while and be okay. People will be reassured that everything's fine. A lot of energy will be going in behind the scenes to stabilise the market and stop it going from a bull to a bear market, because the rich protect their own. So let's see what's going to happen then. April, May and June. They're certainly not cards of cataclysm, you know. They're cards of watch it, and the way wealthy people often have the opportunity to move in on the losses. So let's have a look now at April, May and June. April, May and June for the stock market. What's going to happen in April, May and June? April, May and June. Oh, sorry. Trump out in the cold. Oh, gets a bit more serious in April. Ooh. Okay. It can get very ugly with a good ending. I think this card was reversed in my last reading and I didn't correct it. So I'm going to leave the Page of Swords upright. Okay. Early April, Donald Trump's shenanigans are going to be impacting severely on the economy as much as the stock market. So here he is, the Emperor. Here he is out on the cold. In the cold, and here he is feeling embattled. In other words, April will be a critical month for Blotus. We have to be aware that once the Democrats get in, which is very soon, and they're going to start a lot of inquiries, if not impeachment and so forth, these things take a while to play out. So please be reassured. The legal stuff is coming in to Trump's world. It will eventually bring him down. I'd love to be able to say it's in a minute, but I don't think so. So one of my next videos is going to be about how to cope with Trump still being around, but have confidence that the legal processes will play out. You've got to live through them in the meantime. So let's get back to this reading. This vibe to me is as much about the economy as well as the stock market. Okay. So May, Ace of Pentacles, all about money and a new approach to money. So that's likely to take the form of a new budget maybe going forward. In relation to the stock market, it might be a bit of a resurgence after the previous month. Bang in the middle of this 9-carder is the Wheel of Fortune. This is part of America's destiny. All of it. That's Trump, the economy struggling, all of it. And it's to help people understand the nature of a corrupt political system and people's role in it. It's about the national narrative. It's about destiny, right? destiny. And a new leader's going to emerge. May, a new leader is going to emerge. I wonder if it's a Democrat or a Republican in this context. We will see. There's going to be a lot of argy-bargy. I hope you're all familiar with that Australian term. Bumping up against each other and getting nowhere. Argy-bargy. There's going to be a lot of argy-bargy in both parties. Okay. Now, where are we? This is June now. So as June comes along, it's going to be a bit more hopeful in a way. You've got the young Page of Swords, so there's going to be some more youthful ideas and attitudes to the economy. This could be the democratic socialist ideas coming forward and questioning the very underpinnings of capitalism and trickle-down economics. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, it came up, trickle-down economics. It came up around the time Reagan was in, became very popular as an idea. So you shrink government, you push people off welfare, you make working people pay for everything, and you get rid of unions, and you deregulate big government, and you deregulate big corporations. They'll make a lot of money, and then that creates jobs for everyone, so everyone will be happy. No, it's now 40 years into this trickle-down economics, and it doesn't work. That's why we're all working 2 or 3 jobs and struggling. All right. Trickle-down economics. It's got a lot to answer for. And the younger ones coming through, they've come of age in a time of going, what? Why haven't I got any job security? Why am I being worked to death? You know, what's going to happen to our pensions for older people? So it's like there needs to be, in a way, this awful panic for people to actually question the very foundation of the economic models. And I think this is going to take place with the new leader as well, right? As well as the Page of Swords, cutting through the crap, but the energy of the swords. It can also be a spy in the camp, but I'm not seeing that as relevant to a reading on the stock market and the economy. Then you have the Page of Wands, the smooth talker. This could be the new young wave, if you like, talking a new language. It's like Bernie talking about universal healthcare was a new language. Everyone freaked out. But after he, for 2 years or whatever it was, where he went around explaining to people in city after city after city after city that the sky does not fall in if you have universal health care, people began to take in the message, right? And they've experienced Obamacare for some years now. So it could be that message. Alternatively, the counter message or the counter narrative is going to be, for the American oligarchs, let's start calling them what they are, the 1% that control 47% of the wealth of the nation. That is an oligarchy. Okay, they'll be trying to counter that narrative, right? And so that'll be where the right-wing talk shows and everything will be saying, oh, the sky's going to fall. At the end of June, I think it's going to be a turning point for the economy, but also for America more generally. The Star, a very nice card. Star and inspiration. So that'll be 6 months into the Dems, and they've got their work cut out for them. We saw the Hangman as the first card back there. It's going to be hard to get anything through with this configuration of Republicans who are simply there covering their own asses. They are not governing. So there's going to be this impasse, I think. Generally, it's going to be very, very hard, and people are going to get very, very sick of it. So you're going to have to use your resources and be really, really careful to conserve your energy. And there are rich rewards on the other side of the horror, right? We're used to quick results. We want this to be over. But it needed Trump to be there so that if he wasn't so absolutely criminal, the Mueller investigation wouldn't have taken place. And without the Mueller investigation, which inevitably is going to drag in other Republicans, it would have been business as usual for the next 30 years, and individual Americans would just get poorer and poorer and struggle more, and society would fracture more. Whereas, although there is a lot of fracture, there's a lot of bonding too. I'm doing this with my hands. Communities are forming, and I mean social media communities and our community on this channel, and people are finding like-minded people. So it's really, really, really important to stay engaged. Do not let them paralyze you. Stay engaged, but take time out. Be really kind with yourselves. Be really kind to each other. America is in transition. It's like having a baby. It's like going through labor until you get the baby on the other side. And if you want a really magnificent country that supports most of its people, no one's going to get it all right, it's a struggle and it's a fight. And there's going to be an ideological fight here. Absolutely an ideological fight between the new leader, who I think will emerge. I'm beginning to think this is more the Democratic leader, because it turned up in one of my early readings, this exact card, who was the new Democratic leader, and the conversation, being able to convince people. So there's going to be a fight, if you like, for the hearts and minds of America. And so it's really, really important for decent people to take this on board and to communicate and support each other. So in the end of that, the first 6 months of 2019, roller coaster. So this guy who has, he would perform maybe 25 impeachable offences a week. So you have to wait for the legal processes to play out, and it's so frustrating. But it is happening. It is happening. So bless you all. So do a little ritual or ceremony for yourselves for the new year, and include in that something along the lines of, give me the strength to keep going in 2019, but more than that, to still allow the inspiration in. The star is inspiration, and it takes a very dark time sometimes for people to appreciate the good things and to fight for the good things. That's what it's about. Love. Sending you love all the way from Australia. Bye for now. See ya.